Hello and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name's Adam Smith and today we are doing part 4 of the Well of the Unfortunate scenario in Gloomhaven, our campaign. And in the prior videos I did want to make mention of something that was brought to my attention by some of the individuals watching the videos, which I really appreciate. These logs here are actually labeled as difficult terrain. Now what those mean versus what's considered an obstacle, which I've used trees to represent instead of a bush as it does in the rulebook. Difficult terrain can actually be traversed, but it costs 2 movement to move into it, and then you can continue on. Of course, it'd be like if you were from here and you moved into here, it'd be 2 movement, and then to here would be 2 movement. But if you were going from here to here is 2, and then here is 1. So that's you can kind of move through it, and obviously, depending on what's the most optimal move for an enemy, they'll either go through the difficult terrain or they'll avoid it depending on how close they can get to a hero. So just wanted to clear that up from prior videos. We did play it correctly, but just so that everybody understands that there is a difference between difficult terrain and obstacles that you cannot move through, and enemies and heroes have to move around. So we've been playing that okay, just wanted to kind of clarify that. So we'll move right into the very first round. Not first round, I should say. I guess this would be the around the 4th round now. So we're going to go ahead and pick our 2 cards for each of the characters. We still have a Vermling Scout over here with our Mind Thief, and we have a Vermling Scout over here with the Scoundrel, who has 3 damage on him already and only needs 2 more to get killed based on his elite abilities up there. And then the Forest Imp is kind of buried in the back here in between the 2 trees, and we have to remember that he's ranged, so he can still be deadly, even though he's kind of lurking in the forest there. So we're going to go ahead and pick our 2 cards. So first off, gave a little bit of thought, and I do like the idea of us being a little more cautious in this turn. Reason being is that our Mind Thief, as you can see, is a 2 at health right now, and he's very, very low, as well as our Scoundrel, who's literally on the edge of death. And we don't want to die, so we got to find a way to mitigate the damage we're having thrown at us. So the best thing we can do is try to do something like go invisible. This might be a good time to go invisible instead of long resting. Because if we long rest, we can still get attacked, and we go last in the order. So, in terms of a visibility option, we have the Smoke Bomb, which the Scoundrel can use. So this may be a useful item to use at this particular point. So we're going to likely use this as one of the cards, and then the other card, I think, because the rest are movement based, and we really don't have any reason to move yet, although we will want to get over to the other side of the board with the Scoundrel. For now, I think it makes more sense to sit still and maybe buff him. So I'm thinking at this point, maybe using Singled Out, which will allow us to use the bottom. And then if we ever get a guy or an enemy kind of by himself, we can start hitting him for 2 extra damage. So that's going to be my 2 choices. I'll put the 12 on top of the 2 cards that I select for the Scoundrel, and we've got those covered. And then we're going to run over here to the Mind Thief, and we're going to have to make a decision as to which 2 cards we're going to pick from the Mind Thief. Now the Mind Thief, again, kind of stuck here. We don't want him to pick up any coins because his battle card that we chose for him, as it says here, is to not loot anything. So we're going to avoid moving on to spaces with loot. We do want to kill this Vermling Scout, but there's no damage on him. He needs 5 hit points. But we also need to hide. So let's do a invisible move with him. So we're basically going to have both of our guys go invisible. So we'll end up using this one with an initiative of 14. That's fairly early on in the round order, most likely, if we get lucky here. And then the great thing about this is the invisibility on the Mind Thief's on the bottom, so we can attack using a top ability if we want to. And I don't think we want to burn the top 2 cards because they're really powerful, and we don't have anything that really, I don't want to lose cards at this point. But let's use something that we know we're not going to really get any gain out of right away. And I think it might be the Feedback Loot Shield. So because we already have an augment that gives us +2 in melee, which I prefer more. So we're going to go ahead and put the 14 on the top and 79 on the bottom so that we can get in the action as early as possible. We're going to flip our cards over that we already know, so obviously a 14 because we just chose it. And then the Smoke Bomb is 12. So we're both characters are going very early in the round. And now we're going to go ahead and flip initiative for the 2 enemies we have remaining on the game board. So the Imp is going to be numero uno, so 43, and it looks like it's going to be a reshuffled deck after this. Lots of movement there and attacking, and it's also going to poison us, but can hit 2 people, so that's vicious, if they're within range. So the Imp's going to try to get into a tactical spot to hit us both. Great point is that we'll likely be invisible, so that is a good time that we did that. And then 35 for the Scout, and they'll be moving, jumping, and looting. Oh, it looks like they're going to be stealing our loot. That's no good. So what are we going to do? We get to start with the lowest initiative, and that initiative is the Scoundrel. So kind of push these Mind Thief cards to the side, and we can continue with our plan as described earlier. So we're first off going to go ahead and go invisible right away. So when you go invisible, as we've seen in prior videos, you just go into here and you grab your invisibility token, and we are the Scoundrel, so the Scoundrel is going to disappear off the board, and he's going to be hiding in the shadows. It is an ability that says that is self, and it also is going to, on the far corner over here, it actually has the dark symbol, which is something that's on the element track, and so this is going to move all the way up to the strong column, and it's going to remain there for this round. And then this is going to actually end up sitting in our active area, and it says at least until our next attack while invisible, we can double the value of the attack. So that's really cool. We're not attacking or planning to attack this turn, but next turn we'll still be invisible because it doesn't go away until the end of your next turn. So we'll be able to maybe double our attack and really maybe hit this guy hard and make sure he's gone, or even attack the imp, but we'll see how that goes. So this will essentially just put up in the active area of the Scoundrel, so it'll just sit right here. And once we'll actually put one of these little tokens, one of these really small tokens for the character, we'll be putting that here as soon as we actually activate that double attack. I'll do that, and we'll gain 2 XP as it shows on the card there. So that's that. And then next up, we're going to go ahead and do the bottom. So we're going to throw up another active ability or active bonus to our Scoundrel, or active card, and this is going to be on your next 4 attacks targeting enemies adjacent to none of their allies, add +2 to your attack. So that's great news, although right now bad news because they're adjacent to each other, so we won't get the bonus, but at least it's there, right? And that's what we want, is kind of have the ability to use this when we need it. This is a good time to put it on because we're not really doing much attacking this round. So now we've got 2 different things to look at when it comes time to do some attacking. So that's great. We're also invisible, so we're immune to being focused, and we can likely heal up, which will be a huge plus. We'll do that on the next turn with maybe a heal and stuff like that. So that's really good. The other thing that I'm going to think about doing is, it is the Scoundrel's turn. I do have a minor stamina potion. This could be a time where I could potentially use it in order to help me out. It may be worthwhile to use it, but we only have it once per full game, so or at least per scenario, sorry. It gets flipped over and is used and consumed, as it says, and you recover 2 cards from your discard pile, which is this pile right here. For right now, it's kind of debatable as to whether or not we do it. When we come out of the shadows on the next turn for next round, we'll likely be doing some attacks to try to kill off what is there. What is there is already kind of weak, so I'm not going to go ahead and worry about that. We're going to likely try to heal, although now that I think about it, it would be nice to heal and to also be able to attack. And we do have a card here that has a bottom attack ability, and I don't think many of these do. Most of them are looting. So, and this one would be handy, the targeting ranged ones. So you know what, I'm going to do it on this turn. So it says during your turn, recover up to 2 cards of your discarded cards, and then this is consumed. So go on for the scenario. What I'm going to choose this one here, the disarm a trap one, as well as the attack 3. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in our tray, and then I'm going to also take the one that says attack 2, range 3, target 2, because not only does it give us experience, but we can hit 2 characters with it, and I like that. So we'll put them in initiative order on the track here, and they'll be ready for the next time the Scoundrel has his turn. So we'll come on over here to the Mind Thief. We've got his 2 cards. He's next in the initiative order because of 14 was his initiative card. We've got both of his cards here. And the ones we're going to use are invisible. So again, Mind Thief is right here. He will do what is very, very similar to the Scoundrel, and we'll go invisible. And we are going to hide from these guys so they can't hit us because we are hurting right now. And this invisible will stay put until the end of the next turn. So this card is not lost, it's just discarded because there's no lost symbol in the bottom right. So this is going to go over to the discarded pile. And then we're going to come over here and say, all right, well, this is the good thing about the Mind Thief, is that I can use this top ability for an attack 2, as it says right there, kind of in the corner. So I can use this for an attack 2. We're going to attack the Vermilion Scout from the shadows with an attack 2. Now the great thing about the Mind Thief that we did earlier in a prior video was we put a augment on his character, which is in the active slot, and that allows us to add an extra 2 attack to every single melee attack we do against an enemy. He has one, this is Vermilion Scout number 1. He has 5 health that he can soak up. If we do this attack, is an attack 2 up top, and a +2, we're going in with a 4, which is pretty good chance that we could actually take him out on this turn, and that would be great. So again, we're not using this card for any of its text on here. We're using it for the very, very small little attack 2 up there. So we basically get to flip a modifier, and if we get really lucky, this guy's gone. So let's hope for that. Let's really hope for that. Ugh, that's not what we wanted. So we got a -1, so then that means only 3 damage came through, and it's going to hit that number 1 character. So we weren't able to take him out, which is too bad, because I was hoping we get a little lucky there. But we are more than halfway to killing both of them now. So we got the number 1 area now takes 3 damage, just to signify that that Vermilion Scout is damaged. And as you can see, the 5 health. So we weren't able to take him out, which is too bad. This gets discarded and not lost because we didn't use it for its, there was no, symbol, and we didn't use it for its text on the card. We used it for the icon action of attack 2, so it goes in the discard pile. And those 2 turns of our heroes are now complete. So now we move over to the initiative of the enemies, and we're gonna go ahead with the Scout first. So there's no ability for the Scout to focus on anyone. As of right now, how this works is if there's 2, if both of our heroes have gone invisible, the rules state that they cannot be focused on during attacks, which means none of these keywords in terms of movement or attacking makes any sense to the enemies that are on the board, because they cannot see, they don't know where we are, so they're going to stay put. There's no reason for them to do anything in terms of movement because they can't, there's nothing to focus on. So the only thing that does matter is something like this where it says loot 1. So that means that scouts, sadly, everything around them within 1 space is going to be consumed by them. They're going to almost steal the money off the ground. Now, what you'll notice is this coin here is safe because it's more than 1 space away from this scout, but the scout over here is actually sitting on a coin, so he's going to actually consume this coin, stopping our scoundrel from picking it up at a later time. So that's too bad. So he kind of like steals our coin that we deserved, and but that's really all they do, because we are not able to be focused on for anything during this round. And then we're going to move from the scout. We actually have 2 recycle deck symbols on this one, so we're going to have to shuffle both decks at the end of the round, and I'll make sure to do that before we move into the next one. So now the imps are going to go. Same thing. Attacking and moving doesn't make any sense. They can't move because they are not focusing on anything because no one exists, and the attacks don't mean anything. So essentially, this whole round was really a wash in terms of enemy attacks, but that's what we wanted, because the plan is to, on the next turn, while we're still invisible, is to start using cards from our hands, like this one here on the very bottom. This is heal 2, and cards from over here that say heal 3. And we can also decide to rest. So we'll have to make some tough decisions on, you know, what's the wisest move? Should we come back, try to hit someone, try to kill them, and then rest later? But we are on the bleeding edge of both of these characters being killed, so it makes sense to get some healing while we're not being able to be focused on. So this essentially ends a very, very quick round, and so this is where the video is going to end. I really hope you guys are enjoying it. And again, any feedback is appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like what you're seeing and want to see more, please feel free to subscribe, and you'll get notifications of the videos that get fired in every so often. I'm kind of trying to do them every day or every second day. So yeah, this is the end of this video, and until the next time, guys, keep rolling solo.